And we're live. So apparently, for those who see this and don't know what we're going to be talking about, apparently the multiverse may be coming back, according to something that Carl Weathers pointed out or posted. So me and Dan
Yeah,
are just going to talk about that for a bit.
the Star
So,
Wars multiverse in particular.
yeah.
If they actually let me share it. This shouldn't be copyright, so you don't have to. It's not a video, so or a copy claim or whatever. No, but yeah, according to Carl Weathers, you know, he said, "Love being part of the Star Wars multiverse," and I'm like, this could be a typo, or it could just be the corporate think speak, because they like to say cinematic universe now when it comes to every franchise. But in the back of my head, part of me is thinking that Disney is seriously bringing the Star Wars multiverse back, the very Star Wars multiverse that George Lucas himself
Oh,
started. I'm sorry, what did you say, Nathan?
I thought you were. I thought you thought I was not listening. Yeah, I know I'm listening. It turns out the signal's just kind of acting funky.
Yeah, if you look at I should start with here. There are two worlds here, explained Lucas. There's my world, which is the movies, and there's this other world that has been created, which I say is the parallel universe, the licensing world of the books, games, and comic books. That was in 2002. Then, but there's three worlds. There's my world that I made up. There's the licensing world, that's the books, the comics, all that kind of stuff. The games, which is their world. And then there's the fans' world, which is also very rich in imagination, but they don't always mesh. All I'm in charge of is my world. I can't be in charge of those other people's world because I can't keep up with it. That was in 2008. That was around the time of the Clone Wars. Then there's this. I don't read that stuff. I haven't read any of the novels. I don't know anything about that world. That's a different world than my world. But I do try to keep it consistent. The way I do it now is they have a Star Wars encyclopedia. So if I come up with a name or something else, I look it up and see if it has already been used. When I said other people could make their own Star Wars stories, we decided that, like Star Trek, we would have two universes, my universe and this other one. They try to make their universe as consistent with mine as possible, but obviously they get enthusiastic and want to go off in other directions. This is George, and he's specifically talking about the EU. He's comparing the G canon to the EU because the G canon and the EU were the first two Star Wars universes that were originally created. And when Disney bought Star Wars, they just decanonized the G canon, the EU, everything else, and they just made the Disney canon, and that was it. Like nothing else mattered. The past didn't matter anymore. They just threw that all to the side. But this very tweet possibly confirms the return of the Star Wars multiverse. Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, honestly, I'm fine with it. Hang on, I think a friend of mine wants to join. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, of course.
All right, 1 second. I am happy, but all right, you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, of course. I can hear you.
All right, good, because I have no idea how these computers work still, so I just have to try to sign into Discord again, assuming it doesn't fuck with me again.
Right.
Because last time I tried like connecting my Xbox account to this, and it fucked up on me, and I got kicked out on my phone and the computer, so I had to re-sign in, and
Mm-hmm.
man, was it a pain.
You said a friend of yours had to join?
Well, he might join. I'm going to send a link to a Discord group I have and see if any of them want to join.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, anyway. Yeah, so this is full confirmation. Well, not full. Okay, it's not full confirmation. It's possible. It could be a typo or it could be legit confirmation, but this could be a reveal that the Star Wars multiverse is coming back and that Disney may bring it back. But I'm afraid that Disney's going to screw this up. I'm afraid that they're going to, like before, take something George started and throw it down a mountain into a deep abyss. Like, George created Star Wars, and Disney, you saw what they did with Star Wars. George created the Star Wars multiverse, and I'm not sure what direction Disney's taking that in. They might just ignore the past G canon, EU, T canon, and various canon materials, and just do whatever the hell they want. And that's what I'm afraid of. That this is just, an excuse for them to just do whatever they want instead of actually respecting the Star Wars multiverse that George set up. So
Yeah, that could be a thing. Yeah.
yeah, it's a possibility.
But yeah, I think this could be good. Let's say hypothetically they do bring it back. I kind of want this because that would mean we could have all the old canons of that George that was set up under George's watch, and I would like the EU of old to come back because the new EU, based on what little I know of it, sucks balls.
Disney canon, right?
Yeah, that's what I
Well,
know of it. Like anyone who sees this, and if you enjoy Disney canon, good for you. For me, it's not my cup of tea. I prefer the old EU canon.
yeah, a lot of people do. But if this is true, if the Star Wars multiverse really is coming back, then there's a guarantee the EU and the G canon, the EU, and everything else will be coming back as well. Which I'd be excited for, but I'm a little worried because I'm wondering what that will entail. Like, are they going to do this the right way, or I don't know. I
I
mean,
think
Nathan,
my
you
internet's
and I.
acting up.
Oh, you do? Nathan, you and I did discuss how we felt about the G canon and the EU in the past, right?
Yeah, we did. We did. We've discussed it a few times, like how I say the EU is superior and you're a filthy G canon snob.
Yeah, and how I said the G canon is superior and how you're an EU elitist, but
Yeah, I can admit to this. I am an elitist when it comes to the EU.
yeah, well, there are many people that are. I will say though, this will definitely piss off EU fans who like not all, but because I've met many. But this will piss off a portion of EU fans that are in denial about the Star Wars multiverse that George created years ago. Like, and the irony to me is that the EU was a byproduct of the Star Wars multiverse because George originally was just going to make his movies, but he decided that, he wanted to expand on that with different continuities, expand on Star Wars with different continuities, and that's how the EU came into being. The EU is basically a response to the multiverse idea George had. So it's really funny to me how there are EU fans who hate the concept itself.
Yeah, like, and I don't get that. Hey, Charza, he's here.
Oh, hey,
Um,
Charles is here. This is
yeah,
your friend?
yeah. This is a guy I've known for I think
Yo,
since
what's up?
2017.
Hi.
Hey, Charza, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up?
I'm here. That's what matters. So
Yeah.
what are we
Well,
talking
yeah, we're
about
just
today?
talking about we're talking about this tweet that came up by Carl Weathers, and Dan wanted to talk on it. I thought, what the heck? I got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
Apparently, they might be bringing back the multiverse system that George Lucas set up. I'm hoping they do.
I
Well, we
mean,
don't know for
I'm sure I don't have
you
to
go ahead.
describe. I guess I will. I will note. I don't have to mention the possibility of what could happen with KK finally leaving.
Oh yeah. We don't know if they're setting up George's Star Wars multiverse from back in the day when he had Star Wars. They might just be setting up their own. Like in phase 4 of the MCU, I don't know if you guys care about spoilers, do you?
I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, okay,
Continue
yeah.
though.
Yeah, in Loki, they basically said that MCU Kang essentially got rid of the old Marvel multiverse that was, that we know of the comics and movies and shows and everything, and turned it all into one single timeline. And then when Loki and Sylvie, killed Kang, that started the new MCU multiverse. So they basically tried to
Mhm.
say that the old multiverse was no longer around and that the new multiverse is essentially starting from the MCU. They tried to solidify themselves as the original in this context. So I'm afraid they're going to do the same thing with Disney Star Wars. They're going to forget the Star Wars multiverse George started originally, and they're going to try to start everything from Disney canon, which is what I'm afraid of.
That's a very valid point to mention. I think you're right about that. For a good moment there. The only thing I'll say is I wouldn't call it a multiverse. I would call it tiers of canoninity. Because George was always, whatever he wrote was always canon. And then other people would come in and do things, and then, you know.
Hey, originally I called it tiers of continuity too, back when I was younger, until George used specific terms like parallel universe and universes. So George, so it's like when the moment George started using those terms, like, okay, yeah, multiverse. That's what he's talking about. That's what. Which I mean, look,
it always takes wasn't it there was the old rumor that they had to like explain to you before you walked in to talk to him that like it was in the context, I believe, about when Redfly Studios was pitching that Darth Maul game. And they said, like, don't explain to him how canon works. Like, they're like set things they didn't want you to say. That would get him upset. I'm sorry. I'm a love-hate with Lucas. I love mocking him, but at the same time, well, he did it better than they. What can I say?
I'm a George Lucas. I'm a George Lucas. I don't want to say follower. I'm a George Lucas enthusiast. No, I'm a deep admirer of his
I like
work.
his stuff. I'm just
we might clash.
I just think he's full of shit sometimes. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I just think he's weird. Like, that's the thing about him is he reminds me of like these. How do I put this? Like, you'll see someone who's like very like crafty and they know what they're doing. Like, they have a vision of something, but how they articulate it maybe does not go over well with other people. That's the feeling I get from George. And I like George Lucas I'm in the middle here. On the one hand, I like him. On the other hand, I sometimes think he may have done some stuff that wasn't that smart.
So you're not a Lucas extremist like me, but you're not a Lucas hater like Charza over here.
Well, no, I try to be the opposite of Red Letter.
It's a very
yeah. He's in the middle.
I would say that's fair. I'm very much in like a middle range where I love what he does, but I'm not saying the man is God incarnate. There's a slight where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be that crazy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you want to hear something funny, Charles? He almost met Lucas one time.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, no, it's the Starbucks story. It was I was in high school at the time, and it was I had an extremely shitty day, and I left high school, and it was fucking raining, and I was walking down the street. I just walked out of school. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can go to a Starbucks and grab some hot chocolate or something because my day was shitty. But the moment it started raining and I had no umbrella, I was like, fuck it, I'm taking the subway. Apparently, at the exact moment that was happening, the Starbucks, only a couple blocks away from my school, George Lucas was in that fucking Starbucks. My film teacher was in that Starbucks. He met George Lucas, got to talk to him, got a photo. I did not. So if I went to that fucking Starbucks, if only I did that, I would have met the legend. I'm pissed.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too. Like there are two people from his generation I would like to meet. There's George Lucas and John Milius. I want to meet those two before I die.
I think John is still alive. He's just in critical condition. That stroke really hit him.
Oh yeah. That stroke hit him like a seizure on Hillary Clinton. It's sad.
Oh my god. Oh my god, Nathan, you're metaphors, man.
Yeah, but
I don't mind them. They sound accurate.
No, I love his metaphors, but man, they hit me. It's like Charizard. If you threw a sack of potatoes at my face, I'd fall over.
Oh yeah, like I've made jokes that he finds funny. Like here's one joke. I can't say it because we're live, but it's about black dads. Is all I'll say.
Oh right, yeah. You don't want to get canceled, do you?
Well, not yet. Anyway, but anyway, back to what we were talking about. This could be interesting. It's just I'm wondering if Disney will Disney. It's kind of like Bethesda with Prey 2. They Bethesda'd it. Like they had a good thing going, and then they fucked it up.
Oh, and by the way, Charles, I'm Dan. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you too, Dan. Good to see you here.
Yeah, friend of Nathan's.
I wish I was on Twitter. I wish I could be on Twitter, but unfortunately, that was a whole story. But we won't worry about that right now.
What did they kick you out or something?
Yeah, let's just say that I've been trying to get awareness long before Elon took over about this specific hashtag, if you will. that is essentially a open market of CP. I've been trying to get them aware of this. No one like it's an open secret. It was basically like Mega Mega the end-to-end encryption Mega. They were sharing links, and I used it in context of warning Elon about it. It's like, oh yeah, this
Wait
takes
a
precedent.
minute.
This,
You're the guy Nathan told me about. He mentioned you.
that was a pain in the ass.
Oh
Yeah, I was
wow.
pissed.
I didn't know you knew this guy. I thought like you were like someone who just tweeted at him.
Oh yeah, no. I was pissed when I
They've
heard
been
that.
friends for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Holy
was
shit.
ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. And
I'm sorry, man.
I'm
And this is coming from
No, no,
someone
no,
who
no.
jumped for... No, this is coming from someone who
You're
jumped
fine.
for joy when Elon got Twitter.
Like
Because
I
he
did
had-
too, but that I
But then
did too.
what?
But the fact that I said it to him in the context of making sure he was aware of something, and then all of a sudden, well, now I'm fucked. You could
Yeah,
say.
I don't know what's happening with Elon. Some of the choices he's making are morally questionable, but I still
Wait,
support
did
him.
wait, hold up. Did Ian actually at him about it? Because I asked him to do that. Ian Miles Chung?
I don't know.
Did he tweet about it? Because I asked him if he could.
Right.
I found about it through Stoney. Like he added me about it, and yeah, I was pissed. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, Stoney's our brother. Yeah.
He's fun to talk to. He does some really
ridiculous.
good artwork, in my opinion.
Right.
Yesterday he just turned 25, so happy birthday to him. Sorry, continue.
Oh yeah, no problem. Sure. Nathan, I honestly think that while I'm often skeptical and worried about what Disney often does, I think honestly, in my opinion, this is part of what I wanted from Disney. I wanted them to acknowledge the Star Wars multiverse that George established beforehand, before they bought it and just got rid of everything. And the second thing I wanted them to do was make his sequel trilogy. So it's like, if they do this, if they actually do it, if this isn't just like a typo or Carl Weathers getting something wrong, if this is true, then in my opinion, this is a step towards going back to the G canon and making George's sequels, possibly even bringing the EU back.
I mean, if you want the sequels that George made, fine, have them. I have no dog in that fight, but I just want the oldie. Like, I want Starkiller, the character, back, not an overrated base that was ripped off, named by that hack J.J. Abrams. I want the Clone Commandos to be the Clone Commandos from the books. I want to see a continuation of that. I want a sequel to Clone Republic Commandos. Like, I want the old EU back.
Nathan, we're basically allies in this because, getting George's sequels or bringing the EU back is basically going back to George Lucas' Star Wars.
Yeah,
I'd rather trust him with Star Wars than J.J. Abrams.
Well, everyone just.
Here's my take when it comes to all of this, because I again, when I was a kid, I was about 9 years old when Episode 1 came out, and my family, when we saw the movies when I was, we got the sorry, 1 sec. When I was a kid, we had like old VHS copies from like recorded off Fox or USA Network. I was 9 years old when I saw the prequels, like Episode 1 came out. I was a huge fan of the Clone Wars. It was like the greatest thing in the world to me. But at the same time, when he released, the Episode 1 in theaters in 3D, and then Disney came and bought it, I literally thought to myself, if I'm ever going to animate something in Source Filmmaker, I'm going to animate something where it's like, I'm losing money on this deal. SpongeBob reference, but it's funny because I was so detached. Like, I'm like, okay, well, this is gonna be okay, but it's gonna suck. I just know it in my gut. Because the other thing is, when it comes to J.J. Abrams, is I was skeptical from the start. I'm like, why are we giving the guy who made Lost control over two separate continuities, two separate Star legendary franchises? It didn't make much sense to me.
I actually liked parts of Lost.
I did too. I was a huge fan of the Dharma Initiative. Problem was,
and you'll hate me for this. You'll hate me for this, Charza, but I'm a rarity. I actually did like the Kelvin films. I don't like modern Trek. I don't like Picard and fucking Discover. Like those are
That was
like,
the
no,
beginning of the end. You can.
yeah.
All I'll say to is this: you can blame all that modern stuff on J.J. Abrams getting his foot in the door.
I
Yep.
do blame it, and it's ironic because I actually did like the Kelvin movies. I like those movies. They have flaws, but I did like them. But yeah, after those movies, the only thing new Star Trek that I could watch and tolerate is Lower Decks, and that's still critical because that still has shit too. So like
Yeah.
all of it for me is just complete shit. I've been told Strange New Worlds is good, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
How I
Here's the
look at
thing for me
things.
is like, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna note that when it comes to me, after the 1-2 punch of the shambling corpse that they dare to call M53K the revive the return, ever since then I've chosen to kind of have this almost zen-like detachment from media that things that I love, fandoms that I love, knowing that once inevitably at one point they're going to turn into this abomination. The cancer will take hold. Ever since then, I've kind of just had that kind of out of necessity more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Sorry, I
Like,
don't mean to
aside from
down the.
Sawyer, I didn't think Lost was that good. Like, aside from Sawyer, I didn't like Lost, and I'm like, and J.J. Abrams. I have a hate boner for him. Like there's certain things I hate with such acrimony. It would surprise you. Like, there's J.J. Abrams and Bethesda. Those are the main two, and Disney.
Yep.
I'm at least.
I wanted Disney to die for.
Oh, you wanted Disney to die for what?
I've been wanting to see Disney get this comeuppance since like I was in high school when I found out that they bought when they actually bought what's it called Pixar. Ever since then, I'm like, I want this company to burn someday. Well, even before that, I've kind of always thought that.
Wow.
But
I was fine up until they ruined Star Wars.
Yeah, same here.
My issue with them was stretches as far back to my childhood when they made that first Aladdin direct-to-video thing. Ever since then, I was like, this company, it's stupid.
It's sick.
I guess you could say that simply put.
Yeah, they're cancer. They are cancer. This is why I compared Bethesda and Disney to each other, because they remind me of each other. Like, when something's going right, they step in, micromanage, and fuck it up so bad.
Yes.
You would think, I don't even have a joke for this. Like, they fuck it up so bad, you would think, like.
Yeah, you think. That's the key word. You're fine.
Sorry. Just stomping on stuff. That's going to be a bit loud. I'll mute myself.
But yeah, I can't have a metaphor for this. It's just like with Bethesda, there's a similar thing. Like, imagine you work on the what was that famous blimp that crashed and burned? The Hindenburg. Let's say you work on the Hindenburg and someone fires an RPG at you. You survive the crash, and you have to go work for the guy who shot the RPG. That's Bethesda with Prey 2. I can see Disney doing the same thing. Only when they give you the job, they're like, "Why don't you like me?" I'd be like, "You blew up the Hindenburg."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's been their whole MO. I'm just,
Oh shit! I think I heard an explosion. Oh, hopefully no one died. No, but honestly, Nathan, personally, do you have any doubts about this?
Me? I mean, it's Disney. There's 1,000 ways they could fuck it up.
Look, they already fucked up most of George's concepts. I would not be surprised if they fucked this up.
Oh no, they're like life. They find a way. Like, here's the thing. I think they get off on pissing other people off. And don't get me wrong. Normally, I don't have a problem with that. But it's like there's a limit.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
No, honestly,
it's like
Oh, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say that when it comes to this kind of thing, I'm the South Park mental is like I used to hate South Park, and my roommate was like, everyone gets turned, and I'm like, that makes sense. The problem is when you do that, it's either all okay or nothing's okay, and these people, they can't. It's never. Whenever they're in the hot seat, it's always that's the problem. You could say, yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much, yeah.
Like honestly,
or if you're, yeah.
Go first.
Sorry, I don't mean I keep catching each other off. I'm sorry.
No, it's
Go
cool.
ahead.
I just met you, so I want to hear your point of views more. But anyway, I was going to say that if I had legitimate control over Disney, I'd be like, okay, do whatever the fuck you want with your Disney canon. It's clear you fucked that up so much that it honestly can't be saved in my mind, but whatever. But it's like, if you're going to bring the Star Wars multiverse back, when it comes to everything else that George and many other people have established, leave that in their hands. Let them handle it. Don't corrupt it with your Disney modern woke bullshit. Just leave it alone. Let the people that know what they're doing.
If it was me, I would say, okay, here's my plan. Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, Ryan Johnson, J.J. Abrams owe a legitimate apology that is signed to the Star Wars fan base.
That won't happen.
There's a restraining order. They are allowed not even 1,000 feet near Star Wars again, unless they have a pardon from Trump himself, just to fuck with them.
Oh my, yeah, I forgot. We were talking about this on a Twitter space, and I think Nathan said that as punishment they have to shake Donald Trump's hand. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you?
So much is wrong with me. There's so much wrong with me, Dan. You don't even know.
Look, I don't like what they're doing, but come on, come on.
Well, no, I like to be vindictive. You pick, here's the thing. I think you've probably learned about me by now, Dan. I'm spiteful and vindictive. You piss me off enough, I will want to ruin your day.
Fair. I can give you that.
Yeah, that's the same with me when it comes down to it. You want to piss me off, you're going to have a rude awakening, you could say.
Yeah, okay. Pretty much. It's like I am like a Sith in that regard. I am vindictive and spiteful. Mm. There's a reason why I like Sith and Mandalorians more than the Jedi. The Jedi are too nice.
Well, yeah, depending on the canon. If we go in the EU, they're morally dubious.
I know, but I'm the EU guy. The EU Sith are more complex. Like Malgus, the guy I have a profile of. He is probably the most complex Sith I've seen so far.
Mm. I will ask, so you want to get back into that G-canon EU debate?
Yeah, at some point.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. So, what were you saying last time?
I don't remember. I have to go back and watch the stream to find out.
All right, then. So let's start again. You said you prefer the EU because it's more complicated and it's much more. It's more complicated. It's not the black and white mentality, that morality system that Star Wars has. I mean, when it comes to George and his G canon, it's complex characters with a black and white moral system. So it's like the characters are complex, but the morals are clear. There's no blurring between the lines.
I mean, but the Jedi and the EU, they're not a straight up good guy. They are, no, don't get me wrong, compared to the Sith, they are preferable. But they have done some fucked up shit in the past, and they seem to either gloss over it or ignore it, and they never learned their lesson. The only time they learned a lesson was after they had their shit pushed in.
Yeah, one of the biggest differences between the G canon and EU Jedi is that the G canon Jedi didn't necessarily commit any atrocities or genocides or do anything wrong. They were literally what Obi-Wan said they were in A New Hope, peacekeepers, guardians of the old Republic and everything. And they were tricked. They were used by the people, drafted into a war, and then tricked, and then, destroyed.
Yeah, pretty much. And if anyone ever tries to tell me the Jedi never did anything wrong, that I'm going to say, tell that to the true Mandalorians and what happened on Galadron. Tell that to them and Jango Fett with a straight face. I dare you.
Oh, that's going to be awkward.
Yeah. And the only person who learned a lesson there was Dooku. Think about that. The only person who learned a lesson is the one who became a bad guy.
Yeah, the EU tries to make Dooku a lot more morally complex. Like the EU basically has Dooku turn on the Jedi simply because he doesn't agree with them on how to make the galaxy better and safer. And he grows to believe that the Sith and the dark side is the true way to bring, justice, order, and stability to the galaxy. But if you watch many and read many of the behind the scenes stuff from Lucas, and you go into how Dooku became what he was, George says that Dooku's path was similar to Anakin's. He craved power so much that he got greedy, and he just completely embraced the dark side. He got corrupted by it. And his reasonings in the G canon are just purely selfish. There is no moral, superiority or anything. He just got corrupted by it.
Yeah, what do you think, Charoza? What's your take?
Personally, I do like how they've characterized him in new canon. I think
Disney
again,
canon? Disney canon. You're talking about Dooku in the Disney
yeah,
canon, right?
I actually really do like how they portrayed him in that. I mean,
Tales of the Jedi. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I haven't watched it personally. To be fair, but what I will say about it is that I've really been impressed. What was it? I watch a lot of videos talking about lore and all that, and one thing I did find really fascinating was the idea that, or rather, I guess what I'm saying is it's not the new canon like the Tales of the Jedi, but like how everything the works of what's his name. Well, Bad Batch. There's season 2 opener. They're going to raid his stronghold to get something out before the Empire takes it all, and they run into people who are like, or no, actually, fuck. It was actually the third episode I'm thinking of. There was like a holdout with Commander Cody and a separatist world that refused to acknowledge the Empire, and so like they were. He kind of manipulated them into thinking, because basically he was controlling both sides of the war, but it was this idea that the system was already corrupt. He used a lie, or he used a truth to sell a lie, and as much as I guess, fuck, I think I'm actually in the middle on this. The more I think about it, never mind. I guess disregard what I said.
Wait, what are you in the middle on?
I'm kind of stuck in the middle on I guess everything I was just going to use to defend Dooku was ironically what he used to lie to people. So I would have believed the propaganda, for lack of a better term.
Dooku's a very complex character, but no matter what interpretation or version we're talking about, I wouldn't say he didn't care. Even G-Canon Dooku did care to some extent about like these things. It's just that G-Canon Dooku was more driven by selfish desires, whereas EU Dooku was more driven by political desires.
Yeah, I really don't know. Then I guess I'm on the fence then about that.
As a matter of fact, EU and Disney canon Dooku aren't so different. Like, they're very similar. The only differences are why Dooku left. In the Disney canon, in the novels, they wrote that he left because he wanted to run his kingdom, which is the kingdom that his family had. And in the EU, Dooku left because of Qui-Gon's death. He blamed the Jedi for it. Now, in the G canon, of course, I already mentioned Dooku left because he got corrupted by the dark side and he craved power. But he still felt horrible about what happened to Qui-Gon, and he wanted Obi-Wan, who Qui-Gon spoke so highly of, to join him. So it's like we're talking about three versions of the character, three of the primary versions of this character, and they're all connected, but they're all somewhat different.
I think for me the things that I think made him that way was it was Galadran and Qui-Gon Jinn. Like, I think those are the two straws that broke the camel's back for Dooku. On the one hand, he unfortunately massacred a group of Mandalorians who were more progressive or moderate than the other Mandalorians, and he was left wondering, what have I done?
You in these political terms, man.
Okay, let me rephrase that. The true Mandalorians are the moderates. Death Watch are conservative radicals. The new Mandalorians are liberal radicals. That's the metaphor.
Yeah, I can see that.
But Dooku did that. He was left wondering, what have I done? And it wasn't even his fault. It was his apprentice's fault. And then he lost Qui-Gon, who was his former apprentice. And I think you've told me this before, Dan, like, all Jedi are like family, basically. So Qui-Gon was like Dooku's son, which makes Obi-Wan like his grandson.
Yeah, metaphorically. Yoda being Dooku's master, then Dooku being Qui-Gon, then Obi-Wan, then Anakin, then Ahsoka, and on.
Yeah, you compound that with the fact that Jedi tried to suppress the truth that it was a Sith that killed Qui-Gon. Yeah, that's probably going to not only leave a bad taste in your mouth, it's probably going to make you think, fuck this guy.
I don't know which canon. I think it's the EU and the Disney canon. They confirmed that's something the Jedi hid. I don't know. In the G canon and the T canon, which is very close to the G canon, I'm not sure if they hid it, but I'll have to look back.
Yeah, so it's basically like Red from like basically this is why the Jedi are like Agamemnon for me. Like imagine I'm Red from Overly Sarcastic Production, and the Jedi are Agamemnon. I'm just like, yeah, fuck this guy. Or I'm trying to remember who's the guy who sacrificed his daughter so the wind would work. She basically was like, fuck this guy.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, that's my opinion of the Jedi. Fuck them. They got what they deserved.
More confirmation of the Star Wars multiverse under George is, and man, I had this quote before. I wish I had it now. Is when George says that if Obi-Wan didn't go to face Anakin on Mustafar, he would have been king of the universe, meaning that Obi-Wan changed the course of history.
I know, but then you have to wonder which version of Anakin do you prefer? A Sith who's full functioning, or one that's bitter, broken, and prone to fucking with people for fun and trolling them?
Well, the danger about that is that, according to George, a Force user is at their most powerful when they have all their limbs. So since Anakin lost the majority of his limbs, even though he was extremely powerful, he was in a weakened state. If Anakin continued his
training, count,
if Anakin continued his training and he didn't lose his limbs, he would have been the most powerful Force user in Star Wars. And it just goes to show that, considering Obi-Wan is the one who cut off the majority of his limbs in that fight, Anakin would have ruled the universe and been the most powerful Force, possibly the most powerful Force user at the time, if Obi-Wan didn't step in, which is very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Not as interesting as like Django, but that's still interesting.
Yeah, so that means another thing about Lucas is that he says that when it comes to Star Wars itself, everyone has a destiny, but they could choose to not fulfill that destiny. That means Anakin could have said, fuck this Jedi chosen one prophecy stuff. I'm just going to be a pod racer for the rest of my life. And there's a reality out there where he does that. So that also goes to show that with the future being ever changing and with timelines being ever changing, that just goes more and more to confirm the Star Wars multiverse, that it goes off of second dimensional time travel, which is in the multiverse category. It means the choices you make create other timelines, the butterfly effect, essentially.
It's just, I think the real question for me is which is preferable, a Jedi or a Sith, because like they both seem fucked to me. Like they both seem screwed up, and they all have a destiny. I'm like, what's the point of choosing? Like you're fucked by fate regardless.
Well, look, you could have a destiny, but you could change it if you want. Doesn't mean it'll be, the change you prefer, but you can make that change.
Yeah, you're still screwed. That's what I say. You're always screwed. The Force screws you over in the end.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, so you're a fan of Sith Lords, aren't you?
Technically, I'm a Mandalorian supremacist. Sith are a second favorite.
Oh my god.
Fair enough.
That Mandalorian shit.
Hey, this is the way.
This is the way.
Well, I prefer the EU version of Mandalorians. Like the new canon Mandalorians, they're okay. I like the EU version of the Mandalorians more. Like, they don't have that stupid line of "This is the way." That drives me nuts.
I like that line.
I actually like it.
It's dumb to some degree, but honestly, it's grown on me.
I don't hate it. It's just it kind of wore off on me eventually. Like it wore off fast, actually.
I think one of my favorite scenes was when Bo-Katan basically told Mando in season 2 that, the Mandalorians he comes from are like extreme religious zealots that broke off from the old Mandalorians centuries ago.
Yeah.
Damn. That is like she basically roasted him.
Yep.
Yeah, you're a crazy cultist.
For you. Yeah, it's Bo-Katan for you. That's my response to the Wokies. Is just you're a cult. Get over it.
Yeah, you're a cult. Which I mean, like, no offense to Mando, but looking back at the Mandalorian in my head, he kind of was a part of a cult.
I mean, he was indoctrinated as a young kid. Yeah, like he was indoctrinated as a...
Hasn't that always been the way with Mandalorians, though? Haven't they all kind of
kid? He was raised on them. He probably didn't know any other.
I don't know if all Mandalorians are. I don't know if all versions of Mandalorians are cults. Like the version in the T canon, I don't think that was a cult. Then again, who knows? I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe. I just like the
don't-
true Mandalorians.
Why? Because of how to the point they were.
Pretty
I said I'm probably gonna
much
take off in
they-
a few. I gotta figure out some lunch and whatnot.
Mm.
with us.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Nathan? Nathan?
We've been breaking up this whole call. I'll be honest.
Yeah. I think Nathan. He's breaking out.
Well, I'm gonna take off for lunch at the very least. I need to figure out that whole situation. But I have been working on a model since I 3D model. All right. Well,
Right.
I'll see you guys later.
Oh
stay
yeah.
in there,
See
Nate.
you later.
Talk to you later.
See you, Jarza.
It was awesome talking to him.
Oh yeah, he's fun to talk to. I've had some really good conversations with him since 2017.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've known him for 18 months, almost 5 years, I guess.
Damn, that's a long time.
Oh yeah, I met him. I think shortly after this one group I started hanging around with. But so yeah, like the new Mandalorians and the true Mandalorian. Well, no, the true Mandalorians. Like I said, I don't know if y'all heard this. My internet was acting up. They're basically like they take the good things of both factions and just bring it together. So I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. That's what a moderate does. They listen to both sides and then they take some good pointers from them.
Wait, but I'm wondering though. Sorry, what I'm thinking about right now. Yeah. Sorry, my brain. Yeah, I'm wondering though. Don't you mean that the original Mandalorians had the best ideas and like these factions just took parts of it?
No, not the original Mandalorians, because the original Mandalorians, they were savages. That's what Death Watch imitated.
Yep. Oh boy. Oh, weren't they?
Yeah, so the new Mandalorians had the right idea, they just went about it the wrong way. Like they went for the overcorrection. It's like I don't want to make this political, but well, actually, I don't mind making it political. It's kind of like, you know how feminists say men should be held accountable for past men actions? That's an overcorrection. That's how I see the new Mandalorians. They're overcorrecting for past mistakes.
Right.
The true Mandalorians are like, yeah, I acknowledge my ancestors and predecessors did some fucked up shit. And I'm learning those lessons.
Yeah.
But back to the main thing. So the return of this multiverse. You want to return to that?
Yeah, sure. If you want to talk about it some more.
Oh yeah, I definitely do. What would be the downside? Do you think if, let's say, like, I think Disney will fuck it up? What would the downside be in your mind?
I think they would fuck it up too. As I'm excited for them bringing it back, there's a hope that since they brought it back, they'll do exactly what I think they should to save Star Wars. But but honestly, I'm just like thinking they're gonna screw this up. They probably are. If they are doing it, like I said, this is just from Carl Weathers. Sorry, I'm typing something down.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, it could go either way, I suppose. Like, I do like to think people can change, but at the same time, I look at Disney like, yeah, no, these people don't change. They double and triple down harder than Purple Anki.
Mm-hmm.
Minus the struggle snuggle spray.
Right.
Just saying, when that man had a restraint filed on him, he went on a mass struggle snuggle spree. Like he doubled and tripled down so hard. You think he was trying to make a point?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And like I said, now here comes the EU fans ready to tell me, well, not all of them, but just the EU fans ready to tell me that I'm not that the Star Wars multiverse is just one universe, one timeline, because they feel that way, since to them the EU is the end all be all, which isn't the case. As expected.
I gotta say this.
Oh yeah, just take a look at my Twitter feed. OG, I don't know if you've heard of her, but OG Star Wars. She's a major EU fan. Sometimes we get along when we're calling out like Disney's nonsense, but other times we just butt heads, and mainly it's based on the whole Star Wars multiverse debate. Like she believes that it's all one timeline, it's all one universe because people writers in the EU said so, which like I said before on Discord, they were trying to cover up the fact of the Star Wars multiverse by saying that it was all one timeline, one universe when George said otherwise. I don't know why they did that. I guess they wanted to give the idea that it was all connected so that EU fans could be happy. That's likely why they did it. But I still think it was a dumb reason because now there's this huge misconception by certain portions of Star Wars fans that believe that the Star Wars multiverse never existed and that it was just all one universe, one timeline, and that the EU is all that existed. Like these people, the reason they believe this because of those statements. Yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a ramble. Of course, like I said before, the EU writers admitted when Disney bought Star Wars that it was different continuities, it was a multiverse, and that this whole time they were just saying that. But EU fans, they believe what they believe. You can't
Yo,
convince them otherwise.
Channel, can you show me what Star Wars Girl is saying because I'm not seeing it?
Who, OG Star Wars?
Yeah, can you show it to me real quick?
Oh yeah, sure, if you want. Oh, yeah, okay, let's go down the list. Let's see. Yep, here it is. This is OG. OG Star Wars.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, and then here's a tweet she made trying. Like, she thinks this EU Star Wars map, in her mind, is enough to prove that the Star Wars multiverse doesn't exist. Or it didn't exist because, like I said, these major EU fans, they're dead set on thinking it's always just been the EU, when that wasn't the case. You saw those quotes by George. You saw that information. I don't know.
I'm looking at everything on here, like on the Twitter timeline, but I'm not seeing these responses you're getting. That's the thing that's driving me nuts.
On Twitter. Yeah, I don't know. I assume it's an issue with Twitter. That's just my assumption. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's asinine.
What the EU fans? Well,
Yeah,
not all of them, but
well, not all of them are asinine. It's just like, can we not just come together and say this is a good thing? Like, we're at least getting the old stuff. We might get the old stuff back. I don't know if this means I'll buy anything by Disney because I try to avoid it, but
oh no, to OG, this isn't good. Her and Stig Kenobi, I think Kenobi Stig, like they're fellow EU fans, like major. They believe that this is bad. They believe that Disney doing the Star Wars multiverse, which is they're if they do this, they're taking a page out of George's book. But if they do this, then in their eyes, they're basically ruining Star Wars. So they don't want the Star Wars multiverse that George established, or a Star Wars multiverse from Disney. What they want is just the EU to come back. That's all they want. They want the EU to come back, and they want to get rid of everything else. As far from my knowledge, I could be wrong, but yeah, that's most likely what they're considering.
Oh, that's a shame. I actually like Stig. I've enjoyed some of his tweets online.
Well, look, I'm not saying Stig's a bad guy or that OG's a bad guy either. Like they're both pretty cool and they're very knowledgeable on the EU, but them and certain EU fans have this misconception that it was just one universe, one timeline when according to George that was never the case. So yeah, it's like they have their they strongly believe this. And because of that, despite us getting along when it comes to criticizing Disney Star Wars, we don't always agree. And this is one of the things that we disagree on.
Oh yeah, no. Star Wars fans have always had this habit of like going back and forth and sometimes being nasty. Though it was like, I remember Boofire one night when he had this video where he talked about Star Wars before Disney bought it. He said, like he would say, like person A is a fucking idiot because they believe this about Star Wars, or person B will be an idiot because they believe this. So Star Wars fans have always had this habit, and that didn't really bother me. What drove me nuts was how they would bitch about the prequels, and then the sequels came out, and they were like, what have we done?"
Yeah, I know. Like I said, all my friends, they're like, Daniel, we're so sorry, we were so wrong. Yeah, the Disney, they don't know what the hell they're doing. You know, it's like you were right. The prequels are actually good compared to this crap, and they would basically they would agree with me. It's like, what the hell? What happened to years of being made fun of because I like the prequels? No, apparently they now see that Disney doesn't know what the fuck they're doing without George.
Yep. And it's beautiful. I'm just like, yeah, fuck all you guys. The prequels weren't that bad, were they?
No, well, I mean, to me, they're masterpieces. But to those that didn't like them, not all of them, but some of them, they're like, yep, we prefer that over this shit.
Yeah, I'll defend episode 3 and maybe 1, 2. I don't really have any comments on it. I only saw it once or twice. But 3, I will defend that one till does the hill all die on. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was the best of the prequels, and it's one of the best Star Wars films in my opinion because of concept of what they were going for.
Right.
And anyone who says I'm an idiot for this, blow me, because
Ouch.
I was down this hill.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, George Lucas should probably do the "Who's Laughing Now" joke.
Why would he do that?
Because think about it, I still say the man is owed an apology for how the fans treated him.
Yeah, okay. I could see your point there. I'm skeptical because George has, from what I know, the dude has basically retired, and I don't think he's gonna be doing like Star Wars related stuff anytime soon. But I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll come back, and if he does, hopefully Star Wars gets better because Disney is murdering it, and they need help. Like Disney is they're idiots. They don't know what they're doing, and it's like George is the only one that could save this.
Oh, I'm just like, yeah, no, I think it's all fucked. It's all fucked. It's more fucked than a porn star with daddy issues.
Wow. Okay. What happened to being pleasant?
Oh, come on, this is me we're talking about. When have I ever been pleasant?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll give you that.
But yeah, I think this could be good. Well, it depends how Disney does it going forward. It just really, really depends on what they do. And
Uh-huh.
so I'm going to put this under the wait and see file.
Same here. That's what I'm doing because while I normally would be excited about this, at the same exact time I'm like I'm like Disney has disappointed me before in many various ways. I would not be surprised if they ruined the Star Wars multiverse that George created with their with a shitty version on their part. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. I hope they don't. I hope that they actually, they actually make the right choices. But I'm very afraid that they won't.
Uh, what the fuck? Well, I'm going through your timeline now to find that tweet.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm still looking for it because I want to see it for myself.
If you want, I could just send it to your messages.
Please do. I want to see it for myself.
Okay, okay.
Mostly so I can respond to some people.
I wouldn't recommend responding to OG on this because if trust me, I've debated OG on the Star Wars multiverse and the differences between the G canon, the EU, and so many other canons. And she and them can and they can go on and on. And it doesn't matter if you bring up proof evidence from George, or you bring up like basic information about it. She's not going to let in on it. Like she's really driven to believe that it's all one universe and one timeline because like people in the EU have said it. So it's like I guess in her mind, what the company says is true compared to what George says. And I'm like, George is the creator of Star Wars. What he says goes. And all the evidence I've seen and all the research I've done points to George being right and everyone else being wrong. So, for me, the differences between OG and me is that I look at what George says, and based off what George says, primarily, I look at everything, but I primarily trust what George says because he created it. He ran it. It was under him. He knew what he was doing. He basically set the rules. The people under him didn't set the rules. He set the rules. So if George says that there are parallel universes in Star Wars, a Star Wars multiverse, if he had these categories of canon for different universes and timelines, in my mind, that's then there's a multiverse. That's a fact. George confirmed it multiple times throughout history, and he's right. What people in Lucasfilm say who worked under him and were just saying these things because they didn't want to upset EU fans, when it came to continuity, they're not the end all be all in my eyes. George is. He is. So it's like his statements are the facts. And it's like you can't go against George's statements. But many EU fans think they can, or they think that George's statements are misinterpreted when they're not. They're clear cut.
Yeah, there's an Abe Lincoln joke to be had here. It's that, like, think of George Lucas as the founding father.
Yeah.
And Abraham Lincoln comes in and says, I know this better than you. I know what I'm doing. Shut up and let me do my thing.
Oh my God. This anti-Abe Lincoln streak with you. It's strong.
Oh no, I'm just having fun with it now. I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
Like, I plan on researching the stuff Razorfist point out there to see if he's on the level.
Right. Man, Razorfist.
That's how I look at it, is like.
Sorry. Yeah. No, Razorfist already pissed off enough people with that whole Nazis were socialists thing, which is a fact. Imagine he already pissed off enough left-leaning people with that. Imagine the amount of conservatives he's gonna piss off with his anti-Abe Lincoln video.
Which I love. I love pissing both sides off. That is always a bonus.
Yeah. Well, he's called Razorfist for a reason.
Yep.
Awesome.
I would.
His anti-anime takes did piss off anime fans everywhere. Who is this guy not going to piss off?
I mean, Michael Jackson fans, maybe. I mean, like, he has opinions. He's going to share them. So I should just go with it.
What did he think? Did he think Michael Jackson was innocent?
Yeah, he's done videos on it.
Oh, okay. Oh, so he thought he was innocent? He didn't think he was guilty?
Pointing out Michael Jackson's innocence, and it's kind of funny to watch.
Right.
But, no, I just mainly saw a way to make a Lincoln joke. Like, again, these fans are like, imagine if George Lucas is the founding father. Then you have some shit stain who comes in and says, I know better than the founding fathers.
Well, I wouldn't call them shit stains or anything. It's just, many people have various. I was looking at something. Many people have various opinions on these things, but regardless of how you personally feel, the facts are the facts. Good. I'm pulling a Ben Shapiro here, aren't I? No, but
Oh, wait.
I'm
Well, when I
not.
say shit stains, I mean like the red letter medias of the world. I mean
Oh,
those counts.
yeah. I'm not saying this because I like the multiverse concept. I'm saying this because George confirmed it. It's not a matter of how I feel about it. It's the fact that George himself, in various statements, has confirmed this. And it's like it's hard for me to see, to accept the word of other people who worked under George over George Lucas himself. That's like that's like me that's like me believing someone else on that's like me believing someone else on something compared to the person. It's like that no, that's like someone telling me that Nathan, you, the Nathan, that you love modern wokeness, and then you telling me you hate it, or people telling me Nathan loved like modern feminists, third wave feminists, and then you telling me I hate third wave feminists. I'm like, okay, well, it's like who should I believe? Someone that Nathan knew that said this, or Nathan himself? I tend to trust Nathan over the person who knew Nathan, but that's just me, just personal preference, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, trust the guy who at least tries to be consistent.
Well, it's like who would you rather trust, the person who said this about this person, or the person themselves? Because the person themselves, I think, knows more about themselves than the person that they knew. But that's the logic I'm going off of. I don't know if I'm being an asshole and saying it that way. I'm trying to say it in a polite way, but I'm probably coming off as like an asshole.
Not really.
Oh well, I mean, some people have various ways to get offended over statements, but yeah.
Oh, hang on, Dan.
Oh yeah, sure, man.
Yep.
Let's out here loose, so don't let the dog out.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, apparently the big dog is loose. I can't let the little ones out. You still there, Dan?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what was I gonna say? But like trust a source over like a third party source. This is what I said with Razor Fist video. Like check the
Nathan?
sources he cites. Make sure they're on
Yeah, you briefly cut out there, but I know what you said. No,
Yeah.
but it's like when I was watching the Nazis are socialists video, you know, Razor Fist saying Nazis are socialists 1,000 times didn't convince me of that. What convinced me was the various quotes from Nazis talking about how they are communists and socialists and how they believe in communism and socialism that he showed. That's what convinced me fully. It's like when I did my own research about communists and socialists and Nazis, and when I found various proof that Nazis and communists have a deep connection, deep similarities, I'm like, yeah, they are a form of socialism and communism. They're authoritarian, not a democratic form like the Soviets, but they are a form. And they're extremely authoritarian. So it's like that was enough evidence for me. Not a guy on YouTube saying it, which Razor Fist, I'm not disrespecting. The dude knows his stuff. But the actual evidence itself. So when George says that there are parallel universes in different worlds, and that Star Wars, to me, that tells me Star Wars is a multiverse. George designed it that way, and I don't care how many people in the EU who went back on what they said, or EU or some diehard EU fans that say otherwise. The facts are the facts. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I think the benefit to a Razor Fist video though is it gets you. Let's say you're intellectually honest. It gets you thinking. It gets you wondering: is this guy full of shit, or is he on the up and up? I should research this.
Right.
Like that's the thing I realized when I first found his channel. Like when I saw his video about Hollywood always being right, I thought this guy was a troll or full of shit. So I went and looked.
Nathan, you cut out.
Research.
You cut out, dude.
I said when Razor Fist did his video about Hollywood always being red, I went to see if he was full of shit. Turns out he was on the up and up.
I mean, Hollywood's a mixed bag. It was a mix of like political views and everything.
Yeah, now it's a commie haven.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't mind, their beliefs. I just don't like how extremist they are. How they just hate other people for not agreeing with them. That's just
They've
fucked
always
up.
been like that. They've been like that since the days of Albert Maltz.
The days of Albert Maltz.
Seriously, look what he said. Look what they did to him. Like, you will be shocked how much they've changed since the 50s, 40s.
Well, it gets extremely complicated because there are various different groups with different versions of these beliefs. So I don't do what you or Razor Fist or Gage would do and and put a broad brush on everyone, because with all the various differences, and since I look at people individually, that's not how my brain works. You guys seem to look at it collectively. I look at it
Oh,
individually.
no, I do that sometimes. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with commies who are collectivists and are busybodies, because a busybody is my natural enemy.
I think all communists are collectivists. It just depends on the type. And it's like, you give me a Gene Roddenberry or a Martin Luther King or an Albert Einstein, I'm like, yeah, sure, they had communist beliefs. Like, I'm not saying that in the biased political way. They literally said they believed in socialism and communism. But it's like they were all cool, nice guys that were open to everyone, loving, and they didn't hate people for disagreeing with them or seeing things differently. At least from what I researched. So it's like I could 100% respect them, you know. But the kinds of
Second
people,
people.
yeah, the kinds of people that just hate you because you disagree with them, they don't show the same representation of Gene Roddenberry, Martin Luther King, and Albert Einstein. They don't show it.
Yes, because Gene Roddenberry was an idealist.
Yeah, so was Martin Luther King, and so was Albert Einstein. They were all
Yeah,
ideal.
they're socialists who are idealists. Like, they only saw the benefits of socialism. They never wondered, I think, what the problems could arise as a result.
Right. Which I could respect. There are aspects of communism. There are aspects of communism and socialism that I honestly think are interesting ideas. But when it comes to everything, when it comes to looking at everything under the sun, to me, that's a flawed economic system that died out for a reason.
Yeah, and this thing keeps cutting out on me. Do you want to? Actually, never mind. We can probably continue, but
Hey, if you want to end it now, we can. We're not even talking
oh,
about Star Wars.
I don't want to end it. My problem is this thing keeps cutting out on me. That's what's driving me nuts.
Yeah, well, I'm squashing boxes with my boots, so yeah, I'm squashing boxes with boots while we're talking. So I'm multitasking here.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But since we've already talked about the multiverse thing, what else you want to talk about? Because we got another hour left.
It really depends on what you're interested in talking about. Like, you watched that Z-Wolf movie, right?
I still have to watch the rest of it. I've watched some of it. I keep forgetting to watch the rest of it.
Okay, well, based on what you watched, what did you think, honestly?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I agree.
It's definitely better than Super. I'll give it that. Because Super is bullshit.
Oh, Dragon Ball Super?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it from what I've heard of it.
Well, there's good things in it. Honestly, I really recommend you watch the Goku Black arc. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, the only thing I want to see from Super is like Cooler being introduced into the main series. I want to see that.
Yeah. Well, who knows? They'll probably introduce Cooler in Dragon Ball Heroes, which Dragon Ball Heroes dives very much into the Dragon Ball multiverse, and it acknowledges Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Kai, GT, everything.
Okay.
Hell, one of the early episodes of the Dragon Ball Hero anime was Super Saiyan Blue Goku or Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Goku versus Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So you got Goku from Dragon Ball Super fighting Goku from Dragon Ball GT. And that episode was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so no one talks about the Dragon Ball Heroes anime, which was based off the Dragon Ball game called Dragon Ball Heroes.
Like there was an anime. Like they've already done an anime of it. Like when was this?
This was like shortly after Super ended. I think back in 2020? No, 2018? I don't remember.
Oh.
Lighting a cigarette?
No, I'm playing with a lighter. I do it all the time.
Alright, try not to burn yourself.
It's empty, Jackass.
Yeah. Holy shit, it's the 17th of January. I didn't realize.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. No, but anyway, what am I thinking about? Oh, right, yeah, I'm thinking. Right, so, the Dragon Ball Heroes anime came out shortly after Dragon Ball Super anime. It's not a part of any of the main continuities of Dragon Ball, but it is an adaptation of the video game, which was very popular when it first came out. Yeah, Dragon Ball Heroes came out in 2018. I was right. Which I honestly should go back to watching it. It had 46 episodes so far. When did Dragon Ball Super come out again? I'm looking that up. Yeah, Dragon Ball Super came out in 2015. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Like, I was interested by the fact they brought Broly into that new Super movie. I thought that was good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I liked that. I never saw it, but I heard like stuff about it. I also listened to one of the songs from the movie. I think the song was "Go Broly Go." But it was interesting. Then the shite hit the fan.
Right.
With Vic Mignogna, and then it was all downhill from here. It was like Yamcha all over again.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, Monica Rial, you fucking bitch. And what sucks is she's a voice actor in one of my favorite animes to watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tanya the Evil. I've also been reading the light novel samples on my.
Right.
What about you? You watch anime that often?
I watch anime a lot. Well,
Oh, which ones do you like?
ever since high school ended, I haven't been watching it as much as I used to. I usually catch up on One Piece these days, but I have been I have been rewatching Yu Yu Hakusho. I got started on Inuyasha, which I knew about for a long time, but I never started. And ever since Dragon Ball Heroes, I kind of just stopped with Dragon Ball. But I did drop Boruto. I used to watch it all the time, but I got bored with it. And the only interesting thing about Boruto for me was the manga. The anime was okay, but like Super, it got boring sometimes. So I could go back into the anime of Boruto, but it'll probably be a while before I do.
Yeah, this is why I say always go to the source material first.
Oh, trust me, I read the manga of Boruto when it first came out. The anime came a little while after the manga, so the anime, if I remember correctly, yeah. No, the movie, the Boruto movie was the first thing to no, okay, the final chapters of Naruto was the first thing to come out, which, started Boruto. Then there was the movie. Then there was the manga, and then shortly after the manga, the anime started. And the anime takes some liberties, so the manga and the anime aren't really 100% into sync. Like there's some differences, but that's what happens with different continuities.
Oh yeah, for me it's funny with anime though because like you see people lose their shit over the dumbest shit. Like I remember when Spy X Family came out as an anime, and it pissed so many people. I'm like, what's to be pissed about? It's a wholesome anime about a spy and an assassin who adopt a little girl. What the fuck?
Hmm. I never even started Spy versus Family, but everyone's telling me it's good.
It's okay. I've been trying to read the manga, but I haven't gotten that far into it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just a slow reader and everything. Like, I know what's going to happen in advance, so it's kind of hard to. It's kind of like the Tanya the Evil manga. I can't read it either for some reason. Although Tanya the Evil has one thing going for it, it's basically a lolly version of the Red Baron
Hmm.
who can fly without a plane.
Is that Odie?
Yeah, he's asleep.
Is he snoring?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, let me see how far my game's down that has gotten.
I know dogs. I know dogs make sounds, but I didn't think they snore in their sleep.
Oh, for Christ's sake, it's still at 61%.
What is?
I'm about to murder someone to get this game to download properly, probably.
You think that's how that works? Ah, great.
Like, all I want to do is play Modern Warfare 2 once before I go back to Arkansas for a week.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
All I want to do is play Modern Warfare 2 a little bit before I have to go to Arkansas for a week. That's all I want.
Is there any way you could take it with you?
I can probably take it with me. It's just I want to play it at home. Like they've had me going from place to place for a while, and it's just God, am I tired of it.
Did you ever hear about these special goggles that if you put them on, you get and you connect it to your TV and your console from home when you're traveling? You could play your video games while you're in other areas without bringing the console and the TV with you.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, there was ads for a couple years ago, and they were cool. But I never bought the goggles or the glasses or whatever they were.
Yeah. No, I've mostly been playing the Switch. So I've been playing it. I've been unlocking characters left and right. Like I just unlocked Bayonetta. You there, Dan?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm talking to OG Star Wars.
Okay, yeah, this thing's cutting in and out. I mean, that's just driving me nuts.
Mm.
But actually, what's funny about the SJWs now is like when it comes to anime, they're a good recommendation source. Like whatever pisses them off, check it out.
That's funny.
I mean, that's how I found out about Goblin Slayer and Shield Hero. Like I would have never found out about if these people hadn't been bitching so much. Seriously, the Japanese people should be subsidizing them to help promote anime by bitching about it. They'd make a killing. Like they'd make such a big killing, you'd think they were being subsidized by the government.
Yeah.
Oh, you know.
Hmm?
Talking
Oh,
to Quit licking yourself.
Are
You have to
dogs
eat
cut
it.
themselves?
No, it's gross.
Oh. It's gross, sure, but I just prefer not to look at it.
Yeah, no wonder your breath smells bad.
Well, dogs, they eat off the ground as far as I'm concerned. Whether they lick themselves or not, their breath will always smell bad.
Yeah, it smells real bad. Like it's almost as annoying as the productivity of a manga artist. Because it takes them months to put out a new chapter. Actually, maybe even years. Like there's some mangas they just stop for years and then eventually they get back to it. Still there?
Yeah,
You know, I can hit it here if you want.
it's up to you, man.
Oh no, I got nothing better to do. So if you got something you need to be doing, I can end it here and we can go about our day.
Like I said before, dude, I am multitasking, so we could keep doing this or end it. In the end, I'm still doing what I'm doing.
Okay, what are you doing again?
Smashing boxes.
Well, I've heard of Adam Smasher, but apparently you're Box Smasher.
Don't even give me that name.
Okay, Box Smasher. I mean, all we need now is all we need now is a lighter version of Morgan Blackhand. We can have a good fight here.
Right.
Okay, never mind. You don't play Cyberpunk. I forgot.
I've been considering it.
The tabletop or the video game?
The video game. I didn't know there was a tabletop game.
Yeah, I've got one of the books for it. Cyberpunk Red.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Here, watch the screen. Quick face reveal.
Oh, you're gonna do a face reveal for your dog, Odie?
No. Actually, no, never. Actually, yeah, no. Hang on. See?
Oh, let me take a. Oh, okay, yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I got this for after my birthday one year. I thought it'd be interesting to read for a tabletop I was working on. Never finished it.
Oh.
Which is weird. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, but somehow I got around to buying this. I feel a slight tinge of shame with that.
Right.
Because Dungeons and Dragons is going out of business faster than disco.
Yeah, poor Disco Stew.
Fuck disco. It's overrated.
Wow. I mean, I have a nostalgic I have a nostalgic point of view when it comes to disco, so.
Aside from their music, there's nothing about that decade I like.
Ouch. You're cold.
Of course I'm cold. I'm cold-blooded. What did you expect?
Well, I mean, like, just have a little bit of sympathy for disco. Although I think they're trying to bring it back.
Good God, why?
Yeah, well, this is the generation where we just bring things back because we can't create anything new.
Oh, that is depressing. Why would you bring back disco? It was a fashion nightmare.
It was? Really? I thought disco was nice.
Okay, look up how they danced with disco. Actually, no, I take it back. I'm going to look up their fashion. 1 second. Disco was the 70s, right?
I'm sorry, what did you say, Nathan?
Disco was in the 70s, right?
I believe so, primarily.
Yeah, I'm looking at some pictures of the attire they had back then. Good God, is it awful.
I mean, it did carry over into the 80s, but, it wasn't like an 80s thing. It was more of a 70s thing. I think it mainly died out around the 90s because I don't remember anyone doing disco in the 90s.
Yeah,
When you-
thankfully the '90s had that going at the very least. It was not filled with disco.
Oh no, the '90s was basically fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and they had all that very harsh music talking about death and destruction. The '90s was realist as fuck.
Yeah, here's the thing. That probably had the hippies and the old age going, this music is so angry.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, fuck you. It's not all, there's more to life than getting high and being happy all the time. Some people enjoy being miserable. Get over it.
Yeah, well, 60s and 70s rock is more my thing. I like 80s and 90s music in 2000s, early 2000s, not the shit that's out now. But it's like I like that music, but my era music is 60s and 70s rock, and the irony there is that I wasn't even alive for that. But that's my thing.
I just go like I like the music. Like if you go through any decade, you'll find a song I like. But other than that, there's not much for me to comment on because I know very little about the '70s.
Yeah, the 70s. It was a very trying time, and everyone was depressed and angry. Well, not everyone, but many people were depressed and angry because of some of the hardships in the country. But the irony is that there were lots of people around that time that were just happy and chill. So it was a very mixed bag. And Star Wars,
That's one of the things that made Star Wars stand out was like the '70s. They basically gave you the most depressing shit. They practically handed you a shotgun and a suicide manual as you went into the theaters.
yeah, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, this is the era. Oh, I'm sorry. What were we gonna say?
I'll say then Star Wars comes along and changes that formula. Thankfully.
Yeah, not just that, but it reshaped cinema itself.
Or that's what I hear anyway. Like I remember Razorfist was on Friday Night Tights one time, and he said like in the '70s they basically let you into a movie theater with a shotgun to kill yourself with. And I'm like, wow, that's not far off base. I mean, I've seen a few movies from the '70s. They were depressing as fuck. Like Death Wish. That's a depressing movie.
Sorry for the noise. There was a YouTube channel. They made a video and it said that current day 2020 is the reemergence of the 1970s that were repeating history based on all the historical and political factors that are present today, and that we need lighthearted, idealistic entertainment to get us out of this nihilistic funk that was around us during the 70s.
Oh yeah, that's annoying. Like I hate it when trends return. They're like the Highlander; they just won't die.
What?
Disco and the bad effects of the '70s. They've made a comeback.
I think they've been trying to bring them back since 2016.
I know, but it's like Jesus. Actually, no, it's worse. People would look forward to the day Jesus comes back to life, the day disco comes back to life, and the '70s comes back to life. I'm praying for the apocalypse.
Yeah, everything comes back to life eventually.
I was like, there's so many annoying trends that could have come back. Why the '70s? You could have brought pulp back for all we know. But no, you brought back the most asinine backwater decade of the human history. And it's getting worse every time. And to quote Q, don't get me wrong, 1,000 years ago, everything was great. You had Watergate, Inquisition. It had character. Now, it's unbelievably dull. That line will never get old. It's like, God is a sanctimonious sadist. He gives you these impulses, then tells you not to do things. Look, but don't touch. Touch, but don't taste. Taste, but don't want.
Those quotes.
Never gets old. Never gets old. Like, God gives you freedom, then what do you do with it? You get tempted every 20 seconds. And it's just the fuck. I mean, really, is there any decade better than the '70s? Like, there could have been a better one that made a comeback.
Uh-huh.
Like my parents were born in the 70s. No, seriously, like, can you think of a decade that should have come back besides the 70s? I want to know.
Yeah, most people say the 80s.
I'd rather have the 80s, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, we tried to do the 80s again, and then people got tired of the constant 80s references in modern movies.
But like, we seemed to, like, action movies in the 80s, they were good. They were fun. Like, you had Die Hard, Dirty Harry. Oh, wait, was that 80s or 70s? No, that was 70s. You had Die Hard, all those Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, all those Sylvester Stallone movies. But they were good, from what I hear. And I'm like, we need a revival of that. Bring back mindless violence.
Mindless violence.
Unrepentant machismo. Some cojones is all I'm asking for. There's a little.
You, man.
I want some toxic masculinity back is all I'm asking for here.
You sound like Quentin Tarantino.
Okay, that hurt. That hurt.
Well, I mean, he says similar stuff. It's not a matter of
Yeah, but that hurts all the same. Like, oh man, that stung. But yeah, bring on the apocalypse. Apocalypse now.
You really want the apocalypse, don't you?
No, but at this point, it would be better than what we have. I think about it. You have all this boring shit, and it seems like the world is going to the apocalypse anyway. Why not get it over with? I mean, worst that happens is a few people die and some go to heaven. That's it. And then the few unfortunate ones go to hell.
Right.
Well, it's almost been 2 hours. I think I'm going to call it here, Dan. It was fun talking to you.
Hey, it was fun talking to you too, dude. Yeah, see you around, man.
See ya. Anyway, to those who see this, hope you have a nice day and pray for sanity.
Pray for sanity. Oh my God, this guy.